Well, thanks very much, both of you, for joining us here in your comfortable zone, shall we say. I would like to think it is. It looked like it was 4 seasons in one day out there on the golf course.
Yeah, it was. It started off bright sunshine in the morning, t-shirt and whatever, and not much wind, and then it was raincoats and umbrellas were getting blown all over the place. It was a soggy sort of golf course, but it was a brilliant day. The lads loved it. There was a good turnout from all the players, which you don't always get. But, you know, the lads really responded. The staff were there as well, and it was good to mingle with the fans on the back of a decent result. And it was just a good day, and a lot of money was raised apparently. So
I think it's safe to say that it's been a bit of a roller coaster for both of you since you've joined Bristol City. Jamie, you were here as a player for 6 years, coming back announced as the head coach of the under-23s last summer. How difficult an adjustment has it been, making that adjustment from being a player to a coach? Because sometimes I'm sure, especially when it's that close in timing, there's times where you go, oh, I just want to do it myself.
Yeah, there is. But I can't do it anymore. I'm too old for that and too
The
slow.
body won't let you.
Well, yeah, I try and keep fit and I join in now and then, so that gives me a little buzz. But coaching's what I love doing now, and obviously I still, if I can train and do a bit of training and play, I do. But my main focus now is to improve the lads and make them better players, make them better individuals, on and off the pitch really. So just try and pass on my experience, knowledge, to make them better. And
what was it like when you got the call saying, right, you're stepping up into the first team?
Yeah, I was surprised, but obviously it's nice to go up and help Dino and the gaffer, help them to the end of the season, see what happens. Just try and, I don't know, maybe a different view on it from my side, or well, to be fair, myself, Dino and the gaffer are on the same page most of the time, but I think it's just a different voice as well for the players, I suppose.
I mean, I guess you knew Lee very well. What's he like to work with? You know, you played with him as well. It's. I guess it wasn't too big a step in terms of you would have been around him anyway with your involvement with the under-23s anyway.
Yeah, well, we always, myself, Dino and I have been in the same office all season, so we're always talking, communicating. We're on the pitch next to the first team most of the time, so the step up wasn't that big really for myself. It just gets me closer to work with the first team players, the gaffer and Dean, so it's quite an easy transition.
Yeah, well, you've had a fairly nice transition. I think your first game was the draw, and then we've had a 4-0 win. So you've had an easy ride in. Dean, I think it's fair to say you've had slightly... I think you know. It's been a slightly different welcome to Bristol City that you've had, hasn't it? It's been a tough old haul for you over the last few months.
Yeah, results-wise, absolutely, yeah. The other side of that, which people don't get to see, is working with a new staff coming to such a huge club. The facilities we've got, the infrastructure and everything that's going on behind the scenes has been fantastic. Obviously the Saturday, 5:15 result is the be all and end all, and absolutely should always be that. But it has been a challenge, but it's never easy. Mac will tell you, even as a footballer, how many times can you look back and it's been easy? Life's not like that, so it's a challenge absolutely, but one that, as Macca says, we're relishing, and if anything, the flag's flying a little bit. At times you feel like you're sort of face down on the canvas, and what do you do about that? Do you lie there and feel sorry for yourself? Do you prove yourself? And we come in every day, we work hard, we work as hard as anybody, we love doing what we do, and hopefully that sort of comes across to the players. We've got a good group of players who, the last couple of weeks, as you say, have sort of to get a few decent performances together, and that stands us in good stead now.
It's interesting that you talk about the challenge, and it's actually almost a relish. Whilst everyone always wants to win, having spoken to, interviewed and met so many sports people over the years, there is a common thread within all of you, that a DNA almost of you, that you actually like it when sometimes your back is against the wall and you've got to come out fighting. You actually find out more about people sometimes when you're losing than when you're winning.
Yeah, I think when you're a coach, as you say, there's things you see and you want to get in there and sort them out yourself, but it's about the players going out there and doing that. So you've got to find a common link. It's all about relationships which you build with the players, how you get your messages across. If you come across the wrong way, you might switch the player off. So, as you say there, when the flag's flying, it's interesting because everybody wants to prove themselves, and if you listen to every single comment, then you'd never bother coming to work, would you? It is a challenge, absolutely. You want to be the best at. I speak for myself, I'm sure I speak for you, Macca, and the gaffer. We want to be the best we can be, and we challenge each other and we question each other, and that's, I think, the good relationship we've got. You're always on your toes. It's never comfortable. It's not easy being in the technical area when results are going against you, performances are not great, but it's always about what you do next, isn't it? It's always about the challenge of how you watch a game back. We always watch the game back. We'll come in on a Sunday or a Monday and discuss it, and we might see things differently, and we'll have a debate. Sometimes more heated than other times, and it's that challenge of putting that performance right and going out the next week, i.e. against Huddersfield last week, and seeing that performance coming together. That's the reason that you put all them hours in.
It came across very strongly in Lee's post-match interview, where he talked about, we had a very clear game plan, and it was fantastic to see that game plan executed perfectly. And I think he felt that was almost the first time that it had happened. The three of you have different ways of communicating, perhaps with different players, because in a team you've got so many different personalities. You often need different tones of voice. One of you might react better with one player than the other.
Definitely, it's with different characters, different individuals, different personalities.
And some strong characters.
Yeah. And it's up to us to get the best out of each individual player, because that obviously benefits the team. But as Dean just said there, it's getting the best out of each other as coaches as well, challenging each other in the right way, and make sure we deliver the sessions every day to help the lads. And with the gaffer saying that about the game plan, we'd obviously worked on that. The analysis team watched the videos, gave all three of us our own input on their strengths and weaknesses and how we could combat them, and then delivered it on the training pitch. The lads understood it, and then it's them that cross that line, and it's up to them to deliver it, because we've definitely got the ability, and then the attitude and desire on a match day on Friday. It goes and shows you what we're capable of doing as a team. But I think it's just like, as players inspiring each other, and like getting characters, getting leaders, so it's up to us to develop them. And not everybody does it in different ways, so some players might be a shouter or whatever, some might just lead by example, but at the end of the day, on a match day, you need 11 leaders on the pitch, and I think that's what we need more of.
It was interesting watching the dynamic, because I was sat at that game sort of a few rows behind you guys, and watching the dynamic of you three with Lee in the dugout. It almost reminded me of tag team wrestling, because at one time one of you is up and chatting, and then the other one tags out and the other one comes in. It was. I don't know what a psychologist would say about your relationship, but it looked a fantastic relationship with the three of you, and it was thoroughly rewarding. I mean, I know all the fans in the stadium were overjoyed with what a wonderful result it was.
It's just an organised mess, isn't it?
It is.
No, it's not planned. It's just how it is, and it's just.
I think ideally, yeah. And I love the idea of the rugby scenario. You see Eddie Jones at England, for example, sits up the stand, watches it on his laptop, and it's very, very controlled. And I love the idea of that, of almost sort of the players getting it and just going out and performing it. But we all know it's not always like that. So at times the players do need triggering into certain messages. There's always a lot going on with the fourth. There's too much that goes on with the fourth official, in my opinion. But a lot of that comes from the opposition, and you'll see every single decision from throw-ins to free kicks being debated by them. So you've almost got to be a presence down there to.
That's
make
the
sure
psychological warfare, almost, isn't it? I guess.
If they take the microphone off the fourth official, you can't get through to the ref, and it'd probably be a lot easier. But that's the league that set them rules. So there's that to be sort of managed. And as you say, we see the game differently. Macca might see something if there's no need for me to go and give a similar type of message. So it's about appreciating where we all come from in terms of how we see the game, and not having too many voices all the time.
And the fans, I mean, the noise around the stadium was certainly the most I've heard this season.
Yeah, the atmosphere is, for most games this season, well, certainly since I've been here, the atmosphere has been very, very good. Obviously, the last few home games prior to Huddersfield, it's been difficult because of the position that we've been in, but I think the fans recognised going against such a big team as Huddersfield and getting the start we did, they're always going to get behind the players. We drill that into them. If we start well, we get on the front foot. That's all. We're all fans, aren't we? That's what we want to see in the dugout. We want to see us going after teams and exciting us. And when we've done that, the fans, as you say, have got behind us, and we've now got two big games coming up away from home, and they always travel in the numbers really well. So coming out the tunnel at Brentford there, and the fans are just to the left of the goal, I'm sure that'll give the players a big lift at Brentford a week on Saturday.
When you talk about Brentford, the away end is already sold out for Brentford. So whilst you've kind of got, it's not a week off because you're busy training all week anyway, but you've got a week off from games. You've then got a really hard week next week with 3 games almost in 8 days. That's starting with Brentford.
Yeah, that's the best part of it. I don't like too much time off. Well, my wife won't be too happy with me saying that, but the games are what it's all about for me as a coach, as a player. It's all about the games, and you train all week, prepare all week, and a match day is the most important day of the week. So as a player, I used to love playing Saturday, Tuesday. So it's just about us as staff and coaches and sports science and stuff looking after the players to make sure they're right and recover properly. So we'll do our due diligence on Brentford and the build up to that game, and then we'll do the same for Preston. But the more games the better for me.
I touched on the fact that obviously both of you have known Lee for a while. Obviously Dean, you knew him at Holden and you played with him here at City. So what is he like to work with? Has it changed over the years from you where you were with him as a player? I mean, obviously you were professional and it was a job then anyway, but you've transcended that into the coaching staff. Is it a different dynamic, or is it still exactly the same? Because you all do seem to get on very well.
Yeah, for me it's just the same. To be honest, when I came in the summer, it was hard for me to call him Gaffer.
Just like sort of choke when you say
yeah, well the first couple of weeks he kept having to look, you need to call me Gaffer now, and I kept saying John or Lee or whatever. So the first month or so was difficult to adjust, but now it's just Gaffer now. But for me, my relationship's always been good with Lee. We got on well as players, as teammates, and now he's obviously the Gaffer, and he's always had a good knowledge and understanding of the game, and he's a very enthusiastic, future thinking coach. So he's got some great ideas, and his sessions are really good. Training's always enjoyable. So as a player, that's what you want, enjoyable sessions. But also the detail and stuff that is in there for the match day, to play to our strengths and kind of play against the opponent's strengths and weaknesses, the game plan and stuff like that. So the tactics are always pretty good. So my relationship's just pretty much the same, but I just call him Gaffer now.
Just have to call him Gaffer. And Dean, for you, just as you had a pretty difficult time with the fans, I think it's fair to say Lee's had a slightly harder time with the fans, and being alongside him through that, I guess you must learn so much about each other.
Yeah, we had a couple of really interesting times. I remember when we made the change and Tomo and Tammy came off in a triple substitution, and we ended up getting the result. It was brilliant, but it was a ballsy decision.
It was
and that's what the Gaffer is. He's very, very driven in terms of the way he works in his time, his work ethic. He's right up there with what I've seen out of any manager I've worked with. He puts a lot of demands on people, no question about that. He puts a lot of demands on the staff because he wants to be the best. He wants us to follow him in that. The best thing for me is probably behind the scenes in the office scenario. He's very, very open to ideas. He's very open for one of us to, I don't agree with that. Why are you doing that? Yeah, and that as a coach is the most important thing, because I'd hate to be in a situation where you were a bit of a yes man almost and you're having to agree. And when you walk out of the office, we could have a ding dong over a team selection or a training session, or it could be anything. What time we're travelling to an away game, it could be anything. But when we come out of the office, it's so important that the three of us are on the same page. The players can never see that sort of not divide, but that sort of what's gone on previously. Once the decision's made by the manager, we're on the same page, and we go out and push that message. And that's the best bit for me, is that you can challenge him on certain things. But as I say, the work ethic's probably the biggest thing, and that's, I always go back to it, people get bored of it, but that's what gets you through them times when you stood in the dugout and the atmosphere's probably not what you want. It's difficult. You can always go back to I've done everything I can, and Lee does that, and that's why hopefully we've got through that difficult period.
Yeah, you talk about that triple substitution. I remember watching it, and there was a sort of a simultaneous sharp intake of breath from pretty much all of the fans around the stadium. And actually, you could suggest that there aren't that many coaches that would have made that call at that precise time, because he was actually, I'm just doing what's best for the team, and this is what is best for the team. And actually, in real terms, his job could have depended on it.
Definitely, it was brave, bold, and proven right. So it was a great decision, and like you say, not many managers would have made that decision at that time in that game. And myself and Alex Ball and the 23s were sitting behind the dugout at the time watching the game, and we're saying, it's a bold decision, that, brave. And like Dean says, you trust him because he's been there and done it. He's got experience in the job, and his work ethic is second to none. So it was a big decision, and it proved right.
Well, it's interesting, certainly watching all three of you together, and you talked about trying to keep fit. You know, you are a young, dynamic coaching team. No, you are, in coaching terms. I'm not saying you're a player, Jamie. In coaching terms, you are a young, dynamic coaching team. And you're obviously all still trying to stay fit. And I think we saw a few of you taking part in the Bath Half Marathon. Rather disappointingly, you could all run it very easily. I would be disappointed if you couldn't run 13 miles. How much fun was it?
For me, it was the fear of the unknown going into it, because I'd never ran more than probably 3 or 4 miles leading up to it. We'd not done any training really. It was preparation was horrendous.
I think it's fair to say you didn't do any training, did you? you not.
It was the total opposite to how we had as coaches. When we were preparing for ourselves, it was shocking. But that was what it was for me. You get through the first couple of miles, and then everyone starts to disperse, and then the crowds on the side kind of falter a little bit, and then you're on your own.
Yeah. Did either of you hit a wall or not? I heard both of you just jogged on through like it was a training session. So much to many of my colleagues' disappointment.
I was very similar to Dean, obviously, because I've never done one before, so it's the fear of the unknown. And so you get an hour and a half to stand about waiting, nervous, thinking, oh, I've got tight calves, got tight hamstring, got sore back. And I ended up going for a bacon roll before the start of it, just to kind of relax me and get something.
Was that under nutritionist advice? Yeah, bacon roll.
No. But then, like Dean says, once it gets going and once you're in the crowd and the atmosphere, like people on the side encourage you and there's bands playing and stuff, and I really enjoyed it. And afterwards, at the end of it, when I finished, it was like a real sense of achievement, doing something that I'd never done before, obviously.
We said to the place, it's incredible because there's live bands going at the side, and you are literally like, your body's literally giving in on you because you've never run that mile before. But it's my mate did the London Marathon, and it's the biggest cliche, and I can hit myself for saying it, but it's so uplifting when you come in, when you're struggling and there's someone at the side giving some sweets out, and there's a live band going and everyone's having a beer, and it's the atmosphere.
You weren't having a beer though, while running.
It doesn't have to, it just gives you a feeling. It's incredible the
Yeah.
feeling you can get from it. And we go back to the players, and it's like when you see the tournaments in the summer and you see like Northern Ireland and Wales last summer and Iceland, and that feeling of it's powerful. It's powerful, and if we can create that as we move forward as a club, that it goes both ways, of course. The players have got to put performances in, but we find ourselves saying it, but when you've been through an experience and you feel it, it genuinely is a powerful thing, and if you can get that going, we've got a right chance.
Sport is a magnificent thing. Very best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.